dudes, can you see my face? There's my face. Can you see it? Can you hear my voice? Awesome. We're going to start up class. Hopefully I went over some stuff with you. I will spend some time after class to go over any other questions that you have. And let me just kind of show you around class really quick. But also, let me show you some cool things that we're doing. Today, we're going to be doing a chemistry kind of lab where I'm going to take this equipment. I don't know if you can see that. We'll make sure you can. And we're going to be doing a science experiment, and I'll have you folks online kind of help us out with that. Also, what I want to go over today is talking a little bit about water contamination. Cool? All right. Let me go back to the class. Before I do this, I'm going to do, I guess, what I call housekeeping. Let me start recording this thing right here. I'm going to do what I call housekeeping stuff at the beginning, where I basically show you folks kind of what's going on. This is our classroom, and you folks are probably pretty used to seeing it. Let me take a look over here. All right, here's our classroom. Class is going to start every day now from 10:45 to 11:25, and on Wednesdays from 10:45 to 12:10. This will be our lab times as well. I'm moving the class back 15 minutes based off of an email that I sent out a while ago called Important Information. It was a really long one, blah, blah, blah. All right. I don't know if you folks have been able to navigate this course really well. If it's confusing to you, let me show you kind of how I'm going to be setting things up. Whenever I finish the conferences, which are over here, the program, this program called Canvas, which is what we're using, it records the thing. And have you guys been watching the recordings on these ones over here?
No.
Have you been watching the recordings that are inside of the Canvas? Okay. No. And you know what? To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of those, these ones over here. This is when I press this button right here, this one right here, and it says record the conference. That's what I'm doing, is I'm recording this conference. Gabriel, you've got your camera on? Yeah, you got to turn off your camera. All right. So, what I like doing is I like using this program called Snagit. And what Snagit does is it actually does a video recording of my computer screen. And then I put that on YouTube. And it takes a while for me to do that. But when I'm done with that, I put up these things called Watch the Archives, and I put the date on them. So if you ever miss a class, which I don't encourage any of you to do, but if you ever miss a class, maybe give me 24 hours and I'll have the link up for the Watch Archives. Some people always email me and say, hey, where's the archives? And I'll be like, dude, I just recorded it, and I've got like 3 classes in a row. I can't put it up while I'm teaching at the same time. So give me about 24 hours at least to put up the archives. After I have to upload it to YouTube. I got to edit the video, all of that kind of jazz. Cool? You know, this plan right here, I don't know if that's helpful to you, but it's something that I think we're going to phase out. I think we started it off and we're trying to do it, but it doesn't seem like all the teachers are buying into it as far as using it. So let me show you folks how I like navigating the class. I think the best place for you to go is to hit the calendar button. And in the calendar, I've tried to put as much stuff in here. Whoa, it's going to show me everything. No, I don't want this. There we go. Let's turn everything off. Yeah, this is my calendar. It looks really busy because I'm teaching a lot of courses. But let's look at this. So this is your calendar that you would see. I don't know if yours is any different. And you can even turn on the different classes that you have. So maybe this is Miss Waterhouse's and this is mine. And then you can see like what's coming up. And I think this is the best way. This is better than the plan to me. I like this better. Because as I change things, like if I wanted to move an assignment around, I can just move it here and it will show all of your calendars will switch. Got it? Whereas if I had to update the plan, then maybe the plan doesn't match up with the calendar. The calendar is the best bet. Any questions about that? All right, then let's get into water contamination. We'll talk about that and what it is. We cool? All right, let's pull this up right here. Do that. All right. What is water contamination? Water contamination is it's basically stuff inside the water, substances in the water that make it not good to use, and you don't want to use poor water as far as contaminated water. We can identify these different kinds of things by looking at taste of the water, or the smell of the water, which is the odor, or the turbidity. Has anyone ever heard of turbidity? All right, the turbidity of water is kind of like, I think the best way to describe it would be like the clearness of the water. That's probably the best way to kind of describe it. So if you have water that is super clear, then that's high quality water. But if you have like all brown water, then that would be highly a water that has high turbidity, and that's not really great. All right. So contaminants come in two different forms. One is, or they either are caused by things that are man-made or things that are naturally occurring. Contaminants. Some contaminants are like organisms. Like somebody mentioned E. coli and bacteria and viruses and parasites, and microscopic protozoa worms or protozoa and different worms. It's gross, right? That's like living things, living organisms inside of your water, which can spread through like human poop and animal poop and those kinds of things. And obviously those aren't things we want to be drinking, right? So we need to have different kind of sanitation and hygiene, and this is the kinds of things we're going to be doing a science experiment on. I think in your book, we're getting to the point where we're talking about like water like we're talking about the needs for water. And so like at this point the whole world is kind of going crazy, and one of the most important commodities is water. So what kind of things are that? What kind of things do humans put in water that mess it up? Because that's the kind of things that like are natural water. The things I mentioned were natural water occurrences that mess things up. But what are some human things? Chlorine, GMOs. Okay, yeah. How does a chlorine get into our water? Pools. All right, so maybe the water from your pool leaks off into the water that we use to drink, and then that has some chlorine in it. I get it. What about farms? Farms spray what?
Fertilizer.
They spray fertilizer. When they spray fertilizer, that fertilizer, the pesticides and the herbicides and all the other sides, insecticides, get into our water, and that's a problem. I mean, sure, it might give us more fruit, but it gives us pretty messed up water. You guys get it? There's other things that are in the water that could be really poisonous to us, like mercury and hazardous chemicals that you would put inside of water. There's a poisonous metal that's like a toxin that's called arsenic, and arsenic is extremely dangerous for people to be drinking. In fact, you laugh about it, but there's actually parts of the country or parts of the world where arsenic is really heavy. There's like a huge amount of arsenic inside of these people's water, and these people are coming out with like lots of diabetes and cancer, and this is in India, and it's just killing them, and it's because they don't test, they don't have the same standards as far as like water quality and water sanitation. So that's kind of a problem. Or like industrial waste. I think industrial waste, there's a huge problem with industrial waste when you're talking about China, where there's so much industry, so much factories, and all that factories putting all their junk inside of the water, and then the people are drinking it. And it's killing people, lots of people. So this is a big problem here. Yeah, then we die, which is, I mean, it's not something I'm going to joke about. This is a major issue that we need to deal with. And it's something we need to deal with whether or not we're facing the end of the world or not. You know, whether or not we're kids in this story or we're actually kids who are going to be the future of our country, future of our world. You guys need to be able to solve these kinds of problems. So that's kind of what we're getting into. All right. Let's go into a little PowerPoint that I kind of made. It's a quick one. Let's see, where's my PowerPoint? There it is. I'm going to pull up the Firefox. Close this thing out. So I want you guys to watch this video. I actually put it up. It's called Safe Drinking Water. It's really interesting, and it kind of just covers all the things I covered with you folks. Yeah, it's in Water Resources. Oh yes, by the way, I forgot to mention. I had the class kind of separated in this one style of format, and I'm not really digging it. A lot of other teachers like this, and I'm not really like into this, so I'm kind of going to change how I set up my class. Your leadership teacher likes to separate everything by week. Week 1, week 2, week 3, so you know exactly where you're at. Okay? And I was kind of like, okay, I guess I'll do that. And so I tried it. But to me, it gets too confusing, I think. So I'm putting things in sections. So I'm going to put all of the water resources and all of the stuff we cover about water in one section. That's it. All the water stuff goes in here. So it's not going to be separated by week anymore. It's just going to be all your water stuff is over here. And in order to figure out when it's due, look at the due date. Done. Or look at the calendar. Done. So I'm not going to separate it by week or whatever. I'm going to separate it by topic. So what I'll probably do is separate something out and make a scientific method topic. And that was like last week's stuff. Got it? So I'm just letting you know that if the class starts to change a little bit, it's because I'm trying to change things to make it so that it's how I feel like it should be organized. I tried doing it the way your other teacher did it, so that way we could be consistent across the board, but to be honest with you, I'm not really digging it. All right, let's see. Now, you folks are looking at my computer screen, but what I want you to do is look at the desktop sharing. Have you been able to find that? Can you guys see my desktop, or do you guys see my face? I'll tell you what, for now, I'm going to turn off my face. I'll turn off the face. I want you to take a look at the desktop sharing. I want you to be able to navigate that. Why can't I make this bigger? Wow, it's all right. Oh yeah, right there. Cannot maximize. Why can't I maximize this window? All right. Well, you can see my computer screen, right? Can you guys see my desktop sharing? I've got a few yeses and nos, some not reallys. All right. For those of you who said no and not really, for those of you who said yes, can you folks help the people who said not really as far as like getting their desktop up and running? Because I want to go over this presentation. And we're running out of time. Because today is supposed to go from 10:45 to like 11 something. All right. Anyway. I know. I'm burning through time so quickly. All right. So there are two different types of classifications of water pollution. One is is called a point source, and the other one is called a non-point source. That makes total sense to me. What is a point source? A point source pollution is pollutants that are coming from a concentrated or originating point, like a pipe from a factory or a large farm or something like that, or a specific point of discharge. The point source pollution is it's a potential pollution that is regulated by the federal or the local laws or state laws or that kind of stuff. All right. The non-point source would be things that are located the pollutants are detected in a concentrated water source, like the stream or a river or a lake, or something that comes from a wide range of sources.
Your voice is glitchy.
Some people it's glitchy, some people it's not. Man, I wish that I could fix it. If I'll tell you what, I'll talk slowly, I guess, maybe. All right, let's talk about the types of pollutants. What types of pollution can go? What types of pollution can go inside? Actually, I got a question. Is anyone else have their microphone on? Because that could be messing things up for us.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't look like it. All right. What types of pollution can go inside of, or can come into our water? First of all, is sediments. And we talked about sediments. What is a sediment? Someone says salt, rocks. Gabriel's right. It's rocks. It's pieces of rocks going into our water source, and that could come from like the soil. And it's actually not really pieces of rocks. It's actually really, really small pieces of rocks that we call like sand and soil and dirt and that kind of stuff. That could be things that get inside of and that could come about because of weathering and erosion. We talked about how that stuff works. Nutrients. Now you would think that nutrients is a good thing, but sometimes there's some bad nutrients that come into our water source, and that would be like what kind of like nutrients and animal waste. These kind of go together to me, and to me that would be categorized under like, let's see, like fertilizer and animal. Someone said chicken dung. Turds, poop, okay, yeah, all of that kind of stuff. Actually, I'm going to categorize that under animal waste because I wouldn't categorize that under nutrients, but you know what I mean? All right, there we go. Let's make this smaller stuff because I'm running out of space here.
You're going to make the chicken dung and turds the same size.
All right. Pesticides. What kind of pesticides can go inside of water? Well, we got herbicides. We got insecticides, etc. Fertilizer. Well, fertilizer would be under nutrients, so it's a little bit different. Salt. How does salt get into our fresh water supply?
In the ocean.
Now, a lot of people say from the ocean. I disagree. If salt is coming from the ocean, you're talking. How is that salt water getting into our fresh water streams?
The sewers?
Through the sewers? No, not really. Yeah, I can't think of how. I mean, you say through rain, but doesn't the clouds you guys understand the water cycle, right? And the water evaporates up the ocean water, and then it takes all of that water and puts it over the mountains, and it dumps all that water out onto the thing. But when it dumps it back out, the rain's not salty, right? Because the evaporation, it didn't take the salt with it. Our own salt. Well, see, the reason why this is messing you folks up, yeah, the massive amount of tears that Mr. Dalday makes you guys cry when you guys have to do one of his assignments. Yes, exactly. No. A lot of people might not be familiar with this because we don't really do it here in Hawaii at all. But this is like, I think that one of the main contributors is from rock salt. because we get our salt from salt mines, and then that salt can leak off into the water reservoirs. Another one would be like, I don't know. Here's another one that is much smaller effect, but you know, I mean, here's something I can think of is people throw salt all over the road sometimes. Do you know when they do that? Yeah, to melt snow during the winter, but we don't do that here in Hawaii. So it's not really something you folks would think of off the top of your head, but that would be kind of an instance. Does that make sense?
But how would the salt that was on the road get in the water?
Well, the salt would kind of melt off and kind of go with the, flow into the water system, and it would kind of flow into it, contaminate our water. All right, I don't have time to continue with this thing because I want to do the experiment with you, but I don't have any time to do that either. Do I?
Yeah, it's 11:09.
Does class finish at 10:30 or 11:10? What time does class finish? Go back to the home page over here. Let's see. I said that I go from till 10:25. I got 15 minutes, dude. Does it say 10:35? Oh, no.
10:25.
Yeah, 10:25. All right.
11:25.
I got 15 minutes. Let's do this thing. All right. All right. So I'd like for you to watch the video. I'm not going to go over these kinds of things over here with you inside of this video, but you guys are going to be having a quiz on this topic, and here's my advice for this quiz, and I'll probably put it in the quiz instructions, is do the quiz, but research a lot of the questions. I'm fine with you doing that for this particular quiz. Cool? You can have one screen open where you're researching the answers for the quiz you're taking. All right, let's do this one. So what I want to do is I'm going to do a lab experiment, and I'm going to turn on my camera, and I want everyone to look at my face. This is gorgeous looking. All right, here we go. Start sharing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording, the archive